Now we are okay. I still wonder if the Ottawa guy is logging or not. Normally, if he has any problem, he call me or text me. So far, no. So I hope he's not joining. Okay, we will start and see how we can move and. Okay, so our topic for today is arranging the mortgage of financing. So probably, as I told even yesterday or day before, mortgage is something an expert's job most of the time because two reasons. One, every bank is having different expectation. So if they don't know what this particular lender is asking, they cannot really submit. So if a person goes by themselves, even if a deal is actually a qualified deal, even then some lenders may not take it because they may not be doing that type of deal. Their expectation may be different. So as an individual buyer, if you simply submit, probably you don't know whether they are doing in that way. So sometimes they may decline, and if they can decline immediately, it's all right. If they decline after pulling a credit and submit everything at the last minute or closer to the closing date, if they decline, you cannot do anything. Especially commercial deals, we really need a lot of time for that process. And at the last minute, if the lender is asking you environmental report, then again you will not have time because most of the time environmental report one may take about 2 to 3 weeks time. Some lenders or some companies take even 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Second thing, of course, if by chance that environmental one give some specific expectation to do an E2, then E2 will take another 1.5 months approximately. So how can you do that? And if that E2 comes okay, it's all right. But if that E2 comes with proper proposal saying you have to clean up, you have to do this, then you have to do the remediation if you really love that property. Some people, if there is any refusal in E1, right away they will say, no, we don't want this deal. Some people will try to go to the E2 and try to do that E2 in the expectation that E2 may come okay. And if that comes okay, they are happy going ahead. And if that comes no, most of the time people will refuse the deal. They will walk away. They will walk away with the full deposit. But there are some talented people who really knows what's really happening. They will still go for that deal even after the E2 is rejected. Either they will go with the condition saying, yeah, we need more time for the financial condition waiver and we are ready to do this remediation at our cost. Some people may ask, okay, can you share the cost 50-50? It's going to cost $30,000, 15,000 I'm putting, 15,000 you put. If the test comes good, we will continue. Some people may come back and say, no, the price I agreed is $500,000 or $1 million. Now, can you reduce $200,000? That is only the knowledge people can do that because nobody exactly knows the environmental two or the remediation process cost 1 month or 2 months or what and how much it'll cost. People don't know mostly. But some people really know how to manage that because if they are from that area or if they really know what used to be in that particular building, they can get some guess how much it'll cost or what it'll take for that job. I know a friend of mine, an investor, he's a fairly old guy, about 65 years. He's right through for the last 40 years a builder. So he took many buildings, and most of the time he will go to the city and ask for permission. Sometimes they will say no for one reason. For example, one time it's a waterfront property. That area is not long enough for what, so the city refused for severance. They said no, only one building can be built. He knows how to do that, and he extended the seaside or the water side with filling sand and put the retention wall. and he was able to make it more longer space. And then again, he applied and he got 3 severances. Each property is about $2 million. So just because he has the knowledge and he is just a fighter, so he was able to fight against the city and everything, and he did it. And again, another property, it used to be a small, uh, old gas station before, and he decided to do the E2 and do the remediation process because he knows he can definitely clean that one. And once he cleans and refill, then he can build about 7, 8 units. So definitely it's going to be pay back the cost. So many people run away just because they don't know what they are doing. If they don't know, they are not even supposed to start that type of business. But some people just start thinking it is easy. Only on the go, they really learn what is exactly expected in this type of environment. Sometimes they get to know and halfway give up or what. So that's what I'm telling. So if you yourself try to go for a mortgage to a bank, sometimes you will kill your time. We have to be careful. Second, of course, the income, everything, you should be able to present it in a way, then only the banks will take it. Sometimes the real knowledgeable investors or the mortgage brokers will tell you exactly what to do, because if you just go with 1 month or 2 months closing, they cannot do something. But if you guys go well in advance with a deal before you sign up or what, we can plan that. For example, one property came about $3.2 million the price. It's a brand new office medical building, 3-story medical building, 8,000 square feet living area, living or usable area with elevator, everything in downtown Ottawa. So brand new, and with the basement and everything, and good number of parkings and all. Actually, in that area, we don't really need to put parking because it's a commercial core. So without even parking, we can do that. But that fool just put enough parking and everything. But so he messed up a little bit on the property, but it's about it cost about $6 million, including the land. But it was a sale for 3.5 million, and gradually it came to 3.2 million. Because the reason they are suffering with the mortgage payment and they don't want to continue, and the father is a doctor, that's the reason he started, and son and daughter also doctors. But father got pissed off after their brother took this much of time and money on this construction. So he decided to give up, and after that children also decided to give up, so they want to sell. They listed for $6 or $5 million first. Last year it didn't go through, and 5 million, again 4 million, now 3.5 million. We can get it for $3.2 million, $3 million. But that is vacant. But almost 95%, not 95, 99% of the work is done. Only some hanging wires to be replaced or removed and things like that. A little bit of work is there. It's a very, very, very cosmetic work. But the city said that you have to finish all this, then only we'll give the permit for tenant to take over the property and start renting. So even the seller got some estimation, it's about $65,000 or $75,000 has to be spent on those requirements. He got the contractor's quotations, but they don't have money. So they wanted to sell that, and some people were interested to buy. Even I thought of buying that too, but it is commercial, it is vacant, brand new building. But if somebody comes to me, we can plan it very well. How can they buy that property and still make it as a good deal? One example, yes, it is for sale, but they are in the rush. The reason for their rush is they can't continue paying the mortgage. Existing mortgage is about $1.9 million or something, about $24,000 they are spending every month. They don't have, they are exhausted now. So
how do
that
they
is
get a mortgage without on a vacant property?
Sorry?
How do they get the mortgage on it's under construction, right? So it's a construction mortgage?
No, it is 99.9% done. Everything is done. Painting, flooring, roof, everything is done.
I see.
So anybody can take each unit or each floor and start their business. But when a commercial property comes to market or comes for rent, brand new building, outside exterior, everything will be perfectly done. Flooring and washroom, everything will be there. But inside the unit, it's a skeleton. If you want, you can put a wall in between and take it, or what? If it is
Yeah.
2,000 square feet area, the whole 2,000 will be just like a hall.
Yeah.
Then you have to divide it, right? That is always the case. So that is not a problem for the bank. But if the tenant comes and sign up an agreement saying, I'm ready to pay for $15,000 rent, that's perfectly okay. But just because the hanging wires and some small things, $70,000 or $65,000 cost, these people didn't do it. They were panicking to sell. And rather, if they have taken about $60,000 about 4 months back, they could have finished that, right?
Yeah.
In the panic, they didn't even think that side at all. They thought we can sell quick. They should have thought if we do this, we can sell quick. They didn't think that way. But now it's a final time. But I thought of doing that if somebody joins me, but personally I didn't like it because now the time I'm focusing on something else, especially multifamily. It is commercial, 100%. Still, I love commercial in Ontario. The reason tenant eviction is easy and we can increase the rent, and it's a brand new building, so it's a good idea. So if somebody came to me as a mortgage broker, what I would have done is I would have advised him, okay, the client's problem or seller's problem is their mortgage. So now you take this property for next 3 to 6 months time on rent to own. Pay $25,000 rent for the next 3 to 6 months time, and put another agreement for buy in 6 months to 7 months time.
Yeah.
So that when you put the price and put it for buy, you lock the price. You can ask even $2 million, because if you can start paying $25,000 from this month or next month, or worst case scenario, you can even ask about 2 months free rent. They would have given, because you are signing up everything. You are going to take over that responsibility. And even the $65,000, either you can decide 50-50, or you can ask them to do and give, or even you can take over. Because you could have bargained in the price. Instead of 3.2 or 3.1, you could have asked $3 million. So they are happy on that. Again, you are going to do one thing, that is rent. So up to that point, you don't need to arrange a mortgage. And now you're going to do the work either with them or by yourself. So clean up and everything. And again, you will be able to find tenants in the next 6 months or 3 months time. Right after you clean up the problem with the city, you could have listed for rent or whatever. And you could have it's only 3 to 4 tenants you need maximum.
Yeah.
And you
But
could have
you need a 35% down, right, for a commercial mortgage?
Yeah, generally 35% down.
Yeah.
Okay, now we assume that particular property is about $24,000, their mortgage, current mortgage, and there is no income. So net operating income is?
Can we take over the mortgage without qualifying for it?
Especially it's a commercial mortgage, right? If it is a residential mortgage, we have to think about many things. And if it is a lender mortgage, you have to think about something. It's a construction mortgage, existing private construction mortgage, 9% or something. So you can take over. If the seller or the lender don't like to give that to you, still we call one thing is called wraparound mortgage.
Yeah.
That means you take the package and you pay money to the seller, and seller can pay the monthly mortgage with the lender without changing anything. You can keep some other agreements accordingly, so that you become the owner or potential owner and everything, and they can pay the mortgage for the next 3 to 6 months time with the agreed papers and everything. You market or look for the few tenants, and as per the situation, that particular main floor, even somebody asked for $15,000 rent for a beauty parlor or liquor shop or something like that. That's a good rent. They were expecting only 12 for medical lab or medical office, things like that. 15,000 came, but they did not want to give it, thinking because they built that property in the mind that it's a medical building, and they still think if it is a medical building, second, third floor can be occupied for a better price or better rent. So even the first floor, they don't want to ruin. For that reason, they said no, 15,000. So if they take 15,000 for the base, main floor, and the other unit is about little smaller, so that can go for about 10,000, so 25,000, and the upper unit can go at least about 7,000. So $32,000 you would have got it. It's a commercial mortgage. So we are 99% of the time, we are going to put triple net lease. So the tenant's going to pay the property tax, maintenance, and even whatever the expenditures, utility. If there is any common element, we can put that, we can pay that, even then that also has to come from them. A triple net lease means the landlord's supposed to pay only the mortgage. Everything else is going to be paid by the tenants. So now the net operating income is 0 because there is no income. Or otherwise you can say negative. But even though it is it negative or 0? What do you think?
Negative, because you have to pay mortgage.
Net operating income is not included the mortgage.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
So tell me, negative or 0?
But still there's property tax.
Property tax is also supposed to be paid by the landlord tenant if the tenant comes. So right now he is going to pay the property tax maybe till they keep it this way. Right after one tenant comes, property tax goes back to them, tenant.
I see.
And so it is indirectly, we can say a little bit negative because the property tax and a little bit of maintenance of the utility bills, but probably they are not going to use any utility now, but still it can be about $500 for the emergency lights or whatever. So the property tax, yes, negative, but other than that, there is nothing. So now assume we, in 3 months time, we are putting people $35,000. So if we get $35,000, that is about 35,000 into 12. How much? 435,000. So out of that 435,000, what are we going to pay? What are we going to pay?
If it's a triple net lease thing, nothing
net.
much.
Nothing, only mortgage.
Yeah.
So $435,000 gross income, almost $435,000 net operating income, and that 435 is supposed to be used only for the mortgage payment. So now net operating income is this, and if you divide that by Ottawa downtown, what is the cap rate you are planning to put? Ottawa generally 4.5 to 5.5 people are showing.
Yeah.
Downtown Ottawa, we can still fight for 4.5 if it's a good building and if it is tenanted.
Yeah.
But I just take it as 5%. So what is the price for 35,000 into 12? Okay, 420,000. So what is the price value of the property coming?
So you don't need in terms of commercial, you don't need the property management, on-site property manager, nothing you need, right?
What are you going to do with that? Because it's only 3-story, but we plan to give for 3 different tenants. That's it. There's only common element means the elevator. But if there is any repairs, elevators, everything is going to be apportioned to each tenant based on the square footage or based on the agreement.
I see. Okay.
Every hell will be given back to the tenants. So what's the price?
So 15 plus 10 plus 7 divided by into 12 divided by 5%, right? 7.6 million is coming.
7.6 million?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm dividing it, I mean, the gross income is equal to the NOI. That's what I am calculating it.
Yeah,
right?
we assume that because, of course, we can keep some element for management fees. For example, at least we have to charge and collect or anything. Property management, we can put 5% or 10% if you wish. And if you put a property manager in that area, he can at least take care of the property. So 10% you can leisurely give it to somebody if they want to do it. So even 35,000, so you can discount that much. So 35,000 into 0.9 is
right? 15 plus 10 plus 7, you said.
Sorry?
15 plus 10 plus 7, you said, right?
Yes. So 32, 32,000, right? 32,000
into 12
into 0.9 because 10% I am giving property tax, management fees.
Okay.
So 28 multiplied by 12. So that is 345,000
Divided by 5%, which is the
divided by 5%. $6.9 million.
yeah.
So
Yeah. But the
up
other
to
thing is
now,
like commercial is not doing that great, so you have to make maybe a discount for that a little bit, maybe. I don't know.
100%, because I just show at the current cap rate which is going in Ottawa or wherever, if the seller is not panicking, if the seller is rushing, he will get it for, you see, $3 million. Why? Because last year, same property they listed for 6 million, and they know it really cost them about 7.5 million. Because of their situation, they listed for 6, couldn't sell, came back up to 2.5, 3.5. So that is a specific scenario. There can be two distress situations: the distressed property or distressed seller. So here the situation is distressed seller. Property is a beautiful property. So that is what you are really looking for if you really want to do a good, quick job. If you want to do a challenging job, you can go the other way, distressed property. Then you have to take it and you have to do a lot of work, and then you will come up with a better price. It all depends on your taste, passion, and the background and the strength. Other than that, either way, it's okay. I'm okay to take either way, but not unnecessary repairs. For example, if it's about 30, 40-year-old building, and if there is problem with the sewage, no point of taking that. Otherwise, you have to get deeply, deeply discounted price. Still, you have to have your full report of the remediation and repairs and everything with a very highly professional company, 1 or 2, 3 quotations. Then you can think about it. And if there is any big upside on the rent and everything, because if that type of property is there in Ontario, you can take it. You can do the renovation. The seller can sell you even at a deeper discount because of the repair. Perfect. But if the tenants are living there for 30 years or 20 years, if they don't feel like moving out, still you cannot increase the value. So that's the other part you have to think about. So in this property, from 3.3 million to $6 million to increase, it's a piece of cake. But in this market, if you really want to sell again, a problem comes. If you don't want to sell quickly, you can do it. So this is where the real knowledge and experience comes. So mortgage brokers, they should know exactly what the heck are they doing. Then they can really serve the clients. And of course, they have to take the challenge also, right? Because sometimes whatever the mortgage broker does, the tenant is the client is going to pay 1% or 0.5% or bargain fees for that mortgage broker. Then why is he going to do that? That's the thing, because it is a partnership type of deal, right? You know, when we go for this rent to own and buy and things like that. So not a single person would have talked about that. There are so many talented, qualified, or rich investors may have approached that particular building. None of them really thought that way. That is the reason it was still there. I don't know, the last 1 week or 10 days, I didn't even check it with my friend. But the reason is that tenanting a property, a good brand new property in downtown, is still not a problem. We can do it, not within a month or week. 3 months time is more than enough for only 3 buildings, 3 units. So you can either take it as a private mortgage if you have enough down payment. Otherwise, you can take this building. I don't know if I am recording this one. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Nalim is there, so he would take it. So where was I? Yeah, if you have enough money, you can buy that property with reasonable down payment. 3 million means, of course, at least 25% the private lender may ask you. Just give it and buy that property. Since it is no people or anything, you're going to go only for B lender, private lender. So they're going to charge 9%. Charge 9% and rush tenants within 3 months' time. Keep the mortgage open for 3 months. Right after you put the tenant, go to A lender. For that, you need $750,000 down payment. But my strategy, rent to own, so rent it for 3 months, only pay $25,000, $75,000 down payment, not down payment, expenditure for you, and find the tenant. Then up to that point, you are not even on the mortgage. Right after do that, just go to the A lender right away. So it's perfectly possible. If private mortgage, still, if they don't have $750,000, if they are okay to take that much of responsibility or little risk or things like that, they can bargain little bit of VTB, because that tenant, the seller has only 1.9 mortgage and selling minimum expectation is about 3 million. So 1.2 million they have. $500,000 VTB you ask, then $250,000 you put down payment, or at least somewhat, then still take a private mortgage for 3 months or 4 months, put the tenant, take it to the other level. How much of opportunities are there? If you still have lower down payment, and if you really feel you can definitely put tenants very fast, and if your mortgage broker promising you, yes, I will take a mortgage if you tenant this property, then you can even go for a hard money lender. The VTB this guy is giving, and you have some down payment, and still you are short about $100,000. So the hard money lenders means they are worse than private mortgages. So they will be charging even more rent, more fee, the percentage. Still, they will not even think about much about the property current situation. They will mostly focus on ARV, after repair value. Here, not after repair.
How much is hard money percentage now?
Hard money, there is no percentage generally we can say, but in the current situation, I would say about 17.9 onwards. 17.9, 18%. Because still the second mortgage market is not very, very expensive, because there are plenty of cash in the market. Just because there's no much transactions going on in the market, so much of investors have their money. So that's the reason still we are able to get about 12% mortgage, second mortgages. 12 to 13 still happening. If it is a normal market, if the prime rate is this much, they would have increased that to 17 to 18%. They couldn't do it because it's all demand and supply, right? They don't want to keep it for about 3%, because even though the prime rate is 7, bank mortgage is 7, if I keep my $1 million in the bank, they are not giving you 7%. They are going to give you 3% maximum. If you bargain 3.5%. So people are still okay to get about 10% to 12% rate, unless they are not tapping their line account, if it is their own money lying in the bank. So the hard money lenders are going to take about 17, 18% for a shorter period of time. And they are really focusing on the aftermarket value, or after repair value, or after tenanted value of this property. So they will give you. So this is how the market is working. So commercial mortgage really needs lots of creativity. If you really want to go for lower down payment mortgages. If you are okay with reasonable down payment, either from your side or your business partners, or either way, then you don't need to go for this creativity. One. Second, creativity is only for those who can take care of that risk and challenge. And at the same time, it should be reasonably a shorter period of time. After 1 year's time, if you can take it to a bank, it's reasonably okay. Otherwise, creativity is fun, but at the same time, it can lock you up somewhere else. So you have to be careful. So, did you understand everything about mortgage arrangements? I don't think you can get this much of idea about mortgage anywhere, because I am into this one always, so I am able to share it. But of course, it's a very, very deep opportunities and knowledge. I'm not having a lot of knowledge in everything. I never say that, but mortgage is, of course, big.
Lots of
Okay,
opportunities
guys, so
to
that's
be
all
creative.
about. Sorry.
Lots of opportunities to be creative.
Yeah, that is true. But still, anyhow, the power is partnership. So people, there should be enough people with knowledge or time so that we can do wonders. Otherwise, we only 18 hours maximum for us to work, not 8 hours, 18 hours. Even that is not enough. Okay, guys. So the next one is okay, we can go forward. Any questions? Let us know. So it's only about mortgage arrangement. So we did cover everything. Yeah, we already discussed about A lenders and hard money lenders. B lenders and private lenders are in between. So A lenders means big five, and there are some other lenders. They are also categorized as A lenders. First National is one of the A lenders, and there are so many. B lenders, of course, Home Trust, Equitable Trust, and many other banks are there. Mostly they try to go for residential mortgages, but Home Trust and Equitable can still do commercial as well. Even Community Trust also does commercial. So, what is the difference between A lenders and B lenders? It is fairly straightforward, like a residential mortgage. If you have credit, income, and down payment, A lenders are okay. Even if you don't have much credit, much down payment, if you have credit and income of the property, still A lenders can give you mortgage. For example, if it's a pure residential 20, 30 unit building, CMHC will allow you even with 10 to 15% down. 10 is not happening sometimes, most of the time, but with 15%, it's happening. But sometimes even construction mortgages, CMHC is allowing with 5%, even 100 unit buildings still. So A lenders mostly look for income and the stability of the property. B lenders really look for some equity so that they can take some risk if the income is not that much or whatever. But still, they look for something to service the property. If the property cannot be serviced, they don't like it because they know in long run it's difficult, especially a commercial property. But private lenders, if you put the down payment, they are okay to take the balance risk because they know and they can take some action within few months time. They will be able to move towards the right direction. So private lenders are okay to take a bit risk as long as the down payment is reasonable, about 25 to 30. And the hard money lenders, most of the time, they don't really look at the LTV because they try to give you 100% loan to value. You are already 90%, they are going to give you 10%. So by the time they put their 10%, it is 100% loan to value. And most of the hard money lenders will go for 100 plus percentage LTV because they know now you are buying it. You cannot just keep that as it is right after you buy. You have to pump up some money for renovation or repairs or whatever so that you can rent it. So for that, you need an additional 10%. So 110% they will go, but at a high interest rate and charges. Only because they are basing the ARV, after repair value. Yeah, so hard money lenders really think about ARV, after repair value. If the after repair value is fairly there, fairly okay for them. So that is how the mortgage setup is happening. So most of the time when you try to buy a property, you don't go this deep into this one. But at least worst case scenario, as a private with a private lender, if you can close the deal, you have to see. Not with hard money lenders. If you try to qualify a deal with hard money lenders, you will never be able to buy any property because that is only a last resort because their interest rate is high. So you are going to go only for a small shortage. Not a single property will be profitable if you buy a property at 18% or 20% more. Right? That can be only for a small amount. But private lenders, yeah, if you bargain, you can find reasonably good rate. Now in this market, the private lenders, A lenders and B lenders, rates are reasonably closer, especially A lenders and B lenders. A lender also give you 7%, B lender also give you to 7.5% to 8%. Private lenders little more, but closer. The gap is much less now because the availability of the funds. So that's all about the different type of lenders. A, B, C lenders, we call the private lenders, otherwise hard lenders. The other one, Okay, so the next one is what lenders look for in funding. When you look for a mortgage, the lenders are going to look at many aspects. First one is net worth of the applicant. If the particular property is bought by 3 different people, the total net worth of all 3. Only when all 3 are signing for the mortgage. 3 people put together the down payment, but 1 person goes to the mortgage application. In that case, the bank is going to look at only that person's net worth. If that net worth is reasonably okay, they can agree. If that is not there, whatever the rest is good, most of the time the A lenders may not like it. B lenders also somewhat question that. Sometimes they will take it. Private lenders, as long as that particular property is okay, they will probably go for it. So net worth is one of the important things, because our ultimate purpose is to land a property with a lender mortgage, either immediately or within 6 months or at least 1 year or 2 years. So net worth is one of the important things. Second thing is cash flow. That is also a concern for the A lenders. B lenders also a little bit. So cash flow, the second thing. But if you can make up the cash flow within 6 months, it's reasonably a good deal. Because if the property is already making cash flow, so much of demand, so it's going to be sold at a higher price. So what's the point of buying that? If you can make it happen, cash flow increase. Currently, if it is not that great, it is better. The other one is credit. Of course, as I told, even if you don't have a good credit, still even A lenders will accept. No doubt about it. I'm not just lying. But if the credit is good, the bank will respect a little more. That's it. But if you bring a regular residential mortgage with a bad credit, bank A lenders will chase you. Private mortgage, or sorry, commercial mortgage or multifamily, yes, they will take it still. The next one is loan to value. As I told, the banks have their limit, minimum down payment, how much should be there. And the other thing is A lenders will not let you do a VTB or even a second mortgage or third mortgage behind most of the time. Sometimes, yeah, case by case, if the deal is really good, you can get exceptions. Commercial is under the hand of the mortgage advisor in the bank and their main policies, but some exceptions they can do. The other one is, of course, population of that place where you're buying a property, because if that area is only about 2,000 population, most of the time the regular banks may not like it. But that particular credit union in that area may consider that, because that particular credit union is for the benefit of that public in that area. So they cannot simply disrespect their own territory. So they will support it. And if there is any A lender banks in that location, then they may consider that too, because they know the geography and they will try to support. But if there is no Royal Bank or TD Bank in a particular area, and if it is only 1,000 to 2,000 people population, probably they may not like it. The other one is sponsor. Sponsor is, it is not spoken much in Canada most of the time, but in US mostly they look for. Even here, if many people are buying a property together, and if they try to give it to one person's name for mortgage, the person who takes the responsibility and buy the property on their name is called sponsor. So he has to generally has a reasonable net worth and some experience and some income or whatever, so that he can get a good rate. So when you go for a sponsor, if they don't have anything, then you will not choose them as a sponsor, because sometimes sponsors will not put any down payment because they are bringing something to the table. But they will get a reasonable percentage of the equity or the profit or whatever the way. It depends on the negotiation. Still, they will. So that is the reason I say real estate is a team game. So each person can bring different things. One person may think, last time I negotiated one deal for an immediate closing for a quick funds. So about $70,000 or $80,000. So at the time, we gave a very reasonable rate and very reasonable lender fee. Even that the lender, when the lender noticed that the broker, there are 2 brokers, take a reasonably bigger percentage, he got a shock. He became greedy. He said, why it is going that much? I'm the one taking risk. I told bloody hell, you are not taking any risk. This is 50% loan to value deal you are taking. The client is in a hurry, so I'm bringing you a good deal. You take it or leave it. Only 50%. So on what basis he can talk about risk? Not at all. But they take a chance to negotiate because the last minute. Of course, even if it is last minute, somebody else will say yes for that good return and everything. So you have to think about that. What is that sponsor bringing to the table? Based on that, you may have to give reasonable return to them. And the other one is experience. As I told, yes, lenders will look for experience because when it comes to commercial properties, they know it needs knowledge and experience. Otherwise, a good property can go bad. Most of the time, many people try to buy good properties. After some time, that good property became bad property, and the same previous seller can take over the property, or somebody else will buy it at a cheaper price because they don't have the experience. If they don't have the experience, doesn't matter as long as they have the experts around. Because most of the investors don't really have experience. The ultra rich investors, they really don't manage the property. They only put the money based on their lawyer and accountant's judgment. And of course, if they have some experience, they will understand the deal a bit. But other than that, they are not doing the deal. Those who are really making good money, of course, they are investors, not the business owners. Right. Yeah. So most of the time, you know the Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. Employees, self-employees, business owners, and investors. Who is taking the bigger pie of a property or the profit in a syndication? Investors. But it doesn't really mean cash is the only thing most difficult. There are plenty of cash. That is 100% true. Most of the investors keep at least 50% or 20% of their investment in bank for 1 or 2 or 3% mortgages or rate of return. So that is trillions of dollars in the bank. That is not really making any money. So investment is not the number one rare commodity. A great deal is the real number one commodity, rare commodity. Second one, of course, the right person who can run the operation. That's another rare commodity because many people buy and still they don't really manage it. So, but it all depends where you are standing and how you are talking, things like that. So if you don't go with any experience or knowledge, then the investors will bargain too much. If you go with that, the investors will come down. So that's why I say, when you go for a mortgage or property with syndication or with team, initially you give more, doesn't matter because you have to earn the respect and credibility and experience to bargain with the investors. First deal, you can even go 80% for them and 20% for you or whatever the way. Even if you don't get any experience, profit, still it's okay if you can manage it, come out of that quickly with experience. Next deal onwards, you can gradually increase 20%, then 25%, then 30%, like you can increase. Depends on what else you are doing. So it all, there's no particular formula for that. But so that is what the lenders are looking for in a mortgage application. Guys, any questions? Okay, so I can just share 1 or 2 papers so that you will get some more understanding about what we are doing. See. Okay, when we apply for a mortgage, main thing is the rent roll, the lease agreement. Lease agreement is individually coming all the pages. And from that, the banks will expect you a summary that is called rent roll. Sometimes the seller will give you the rent roll first. After that, after you sign up and get a the deal accepted, then they will give you all the lease agreements. But if you want, you can demand the lease agreement even before you sign up or agree with the purchase. Sometimes some lenders, some sellers don't like to give it, but at the same time, it is okay because you will put a condition saying if the rent roll is not matching, but we agreed before or as per the pro forma, you can get back. You can cancel the deal. from that rent roll or the lease agreement, you will prepare a summary. Depends on the banks. Most of the banks will give you the formats because then it is easy for them to put it in their system. So they will send you the formats. Either your mortgage broker or you have to feed those information into the sheets. So this is one of the formats for Royal Bank. So we had to feed all the information. Then you can go ahead with that.
What is the column for recoveries? Base rent plus recovery.
Is that which column is the base rent? Recoveries, PSF annual. Yeah, I never even see that.
Okay.
Sometimes, for example, reimbursement happens,
Okay.
right? So that you get back utility reimbursements. Yeah. And the other one is PSF, means per square feet. Okay. And yeah, and of course, whether the property is vacant or not, they will try to take at least 5% vacancy normally. But if the area is very remote, they will try to take it for 10% vacancy. So that's how they try to get their net operating income. Just because it is fully tenanted, they will not always take NOI for 100%. So that's all about that rent roll. The other one we can see, this is PSOL, purchase of personal, what is that? Personal statement of affairs. That means actually the net worth, everything is coming into this one. You can see here, personal information and then personal information sometimes. And again, financial profile, what you have and assets and everything in the bank. So down payment, where we keep it, things like that. Again, mostly it's an annual income from this property. And then they will take the net worth. And again, marketable securities, whatever the bonds or whatever you have, RRSP separately. If you have any life insurance, they will ask you. And Schedule D, real estate separately coming. And again, whatever the properties, you can show that. And again, business interest, if you have any other business interest, you can put that. And Schedule A is if there is anything particularly in that particular bank, they ask you again, but they can verify that. Other lenders separately, they will ask. This one they cannot get, only when we give, we can understand. Yeah. So they generally asking almost everything, so that mortgage broker exactly knows how to feed this. Even though this form comes, when a mortgage broker involved, they themselves will fill it up, everything for you guys. Yeah, that's how it works. Yes. Okay, so that's all about the mortgages. Enable summary. Okay, so any questions? So as normally I tell, whenever you try to go for a commercial property, think about at least about 25 to 30% down payment may be expected by the bank. And if you feel that cap rate is lower, then definitely it's going to be a bigger down payment. For example, now if you buy a property at the cap rate of 5.5, what down payment you can expect from the bank? Because the cap rate is 5, but the mortgage interest rate is going to be at least 7 in the bank. And bank mortgage means that is principal plus interest. So actually you are going to probably pay about 9% each month of the purchase price, or the down payment less this loan amount. So you are getting only the cap rate 5, and you are going to service a mortgage at the rate of 9, or all inclusive, principal plus interest about 9 going to go. So do you think you can take about 85% loan to value mortgage? Bank will give you? No chance. So you will probably get about 65% or 60% loan to value mortgage. So that is the real difficulty in current situation the real estate investors are having. Still, they can find good property. They know it can go up in value or they can immediately increase the value, things like that. But only few people really calculate that opportunities and all together and go for a deal. But other than that, if it is reasonably okay deal, market cap is 5, you are getting at 6. It's a good deal. Even then, when you go to the bank for the mortgage, probably you may have to put about 30% down. If you don't have the 30% down, you can't do anything. You can try to get a VTB, but the VTB is going to be another debt. So, and again, the bank will not accept that mortgage. So their bank is not going to allow you. So you can get a VTB, still you're going to pay even higher interest rate in a private lender or B lender. So again, you're going to get more difficulties in qualifying for a mortgage. They can give you a little more loan to value, still it's going to be even difficult. So in this market, the mortgage broker who deals with you guys have to have a real experience and lots of creativity. Then a lot of opportunities are still there. So you surround enough investors and find a good mortgage broker. Then still you can do mortgages. Because when I put this deal, the 5-day crash course, buy a property with 30 days, it is not just impossible. 100% it is possible. But how committed we are and how much of time you have and what else you are going to bring to the table is the question. Even with zero down, you can find. There are so many ways, so many reasons sellers are selling properties. So that property I told you, the Ottawa property, $3 million. It can even $3 million value. So it can go up to $5 million. If you can bring a good investor, and if they can trust you and your mortgage broker, you can make a deal. So it is not one example. In my eyes, I may have seen about 5-6 great deals in the last few months itself. I was not actively looking for deals. Even then, minimum 5-6 deals, I told. So these all need some strategy to acquire that. And if you think this is not the best time, you want to wait, it's a totally wrong. Because you are going to buy at the time everybody's going to buy. Then all good deals will be taken by the realtors itself, or the sellers can simply pass it to their family members or whoever. So you are not going to fight it. You are going to fight and give a very high interest, the percentage, the price for that type of deals. Now is the best time. And there is no downfall. If you start now, for the next 3 to 6 months time, if you spend and work hard, again, winter, so not everybody is going to find properties. So it's an opportunity. Only thing you need to work with the right people, but plenty of opportunities. Yeah, so definitely it's possible. Any questions, let us know. Actually, that's all in mortgages. There's nothing much. If you have any questions or any case studies or what, we can go through. Ada, why don't you introduce you? I don't remember your face. Is it the first time or we met before too? Maybe it's 8:30. Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
So in your experience, is there any case that lender at the closing day request something and give difficulty to close the deal?
Lender asking anything at the last minute.
Like on the closing day,
Yeah.
and end up not release the fund and reject to release the fund, and then what will that buyer fell into how to troubleshoot just if that happened, and how often that happens? and what to
Yeah.
do to prevent that happen?
It can definitely happen, but at the same time, why that is happening? It should not happen at the last minute or the last day of the closing, definitely. If a mortgage broker is working with you guys, he should be able to make sure that deal is completed and accepted and finalized at least 1 week before or 2 days before. That's true. But as you asked, it happens. It
Mm.
happens means we try to put a B lender deal to A lender.
Mm.
And we try to take some chance and things like that and try to make it close at the bank, A lender. But at the last minute, the A lender identifies something, so they are asking something more. So it is not a legitimate deal.
Mm.
If it is a legitimate deal, we can fight for, we can ask for explanation, things like that.
Mm.
But if it is not there, you should be able to ready. That's why I always say, can you take a deal to A lender? Now you have to check it. Can you take this deal at least to a private lender at the last minute? That's another question you have to always ask by the time you buy it. Sir. If the answer is still suspicious, no point in buying the property. Why a private lender will not accept a deal? Most likely you don't have a down payment. Or it's such a crappy deal. Then why are you going for that? And of course, you are taking a chance with the A lender with lower down payment, where the property, if the deal don't fly through a lender, there is no other way that you can close it because you need more down payment. So if you cannot at least arrange some down payment, you should not take a chance like that. So other than that, a legitimate deal will not be returned at the last minute. Any other experience, Anna, for you?
In the residential, I have one case have that
Mhm.
before,
Yeah.
that all of a sudden the lender requests some document like a title from one of the property that the buyer own in other province.
Mhm.
But gladly I have know many realtor in other province, so I just phone them and get the title search on time.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the fund still released, the deal still closed, but
That's
just
good. That's
I
good.
just like to 100% close every deal. I don't want any deal fall apart. That's what my
Yeah.
practice. Yeah.
Very good. But at the same time, yeah, sometimes it is very unfair for the lenders asking at the last minute this type of question. Because, for example, any employment verification or something still pending, the employer don't answer up to the last minute. On the last minute, only the employer answers, and the lender is not happy with the answers. That's a legitimate reason. This title problem, they should not take it at the last minute.
Mhm.
No reason for them unless they have any other doubt. But
So
sometimes it happens. Unfortunately, the lenders have their hand upper than the borrowers. What to do?
the next question is, I heard about so when buyer does not have the down payment, right?
Yeah.
You kind of talking that a lot of money. So, but this a lot of money usually in the hard lender money, right? Because they're willing to do 100% of the loan to value.
Yeah.
So that mean that the deal that when the buyer does not have down payment, most of the time start with the 100% money lender.
Mhm.
And after that, after they successfully close the deal,
Yeah.
in your experience, how long on average is 1 year? So hard money lender usually willing to do it 1 year, or what is the longest hard money willing to do? Are they willing to renew after 1 year?
Good question. Because
And in case the buyer still cannot get out of this situation of having enough down payment to deal with the B lender. So what the buyer should do if they keep going on with the high interest with the hard money lender 1 year, and the second year if hard money lender want to get the fund back, so
Yeah.
it will be a big problem.
because in this market from last year to this year, drastic changes. So I cannot even blame any investors. They got into a private mortgage and now they are suffering because it is totally unexpected. Because if they have gone with a very marginal situation, it is their mistake. But this time the mortgage has gone by 300%. It has gone increased 2.5% to 7.5%. So in this case, nobody expected this much. In this case, if a lender or the borrower is suffering for the first year or even the second year, I can't blame them. But at the same time, the lenders also, if they really have a reason for them to ask the money, it's okay. But if they are just pushing the borrower to get the money back, it is not reasonable. But there are something happening like that. The hard money lenders or even the private lenders have no other reason to ask for the money back other than that they are little fearful. Otherwise, they are little greedy so that they can get the money and give it to somebody else with another lender fee and broker fee. So if they do that, it is bad.
I make a simple number in order to make me understand even clearer. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say a buyer invests in 1 million property. Just make the number very simple, right? 1 million, and he does not have these 300,000 because you say average you have 30% down, right?
20 to 30%, yes.
Yeah, and then he does not have the 300,000 down, and he want to buy that. So he go to the hard money lender, lending him close the deal, right?
Okay.
Then, of course, he will collect this rental income, blah blah blah, and then all the expense.
Yeah.
Maybe each month he can net. Maybe each month he can net 5,000.
Okay.
After 1 year, 5,000 times 12 is 60,000. Still not sufficient to come up 300,000 on the second year, on the third year, on the fifth year. And if this hard money lender not willing to renew and the B lender is not qualified yet, what this buyer will be? What the solution?
No, first of all, why that buyer is buying that property? Just because the realtor pressured them to buy? Or the buyer knows everything, he did the underwriting and due diligence and buy? Or without anything, blindly they are buying? What is the reason? Is there any pressure for the buyer to buy a property?
I just try to, increase equity, right? Yeah.
Who?
Increase equity, the buyer.
So he wants to increase their net worth.
Yes.
Okay. It is a business or not?
A business.
Yeah, it's a business. It can go positive or negative. It's always the case. But at least if we cannot think at least 75% of the time it's going to be positive, we should not go for it. One. Second, how many days of finance condition they got in the purchase? Is it 5 days or 30 days or 2 months finance condition they had in the deal?
Oh.
That is the reason the finance condition is there. I always recommend every single condition you should be able to go through and waive before you are 100% committed. And if you take a deal which is not cash flowing, that's the reason I'm telling you have to do the underwriting and see whether you can make it cash flow within 6 months' time. Worst case, 1 year's time.
Yeah.
If you cannot, because
after expense, right? It's net 5,000 a month after expense. It's net 5,000 a month. But 12 months times
60,000 only.
Yeah, but that means second year he still does not have enough down payment because it needs 300,000.
True.
So that means he needs 5 years to get enough down payment. Is the hard money lender willing to stay with him for 5 years? That's a big question.
Hard money lenders, if you pay their payment monthly, they will be happily spending that time with you. Unless some hard money lenders, if they really need the money back, they may ask, then you can put somebody else. That's possible. But if the cash flow is the only reason you are buying a property, again, your underwriting is wrong.
Mm.
In commercial, when we do our full-time coaching, 1-year coaching or whatever, we take enough time for underwriting. Underwriting is coming in so many perspectives. So when we do that, exactly my buyers should understand, or my coaching students will understand what are they buying, when they can take it to an A lender, when they can take it to a B lender, and what are they supposed to do from year month 1, month 2, month 8, 12, like that. They should know that. Because if it is a commercial purchase, commercial real estate, the business plan is very important. Without any business plan, if they just buy for the sake their friends and family or brothers and sisters are buying, they may end up with this. But at the same time, I cannot blame anybody in this market. Because I understand this. I'm seeing many people as a mortgage broker or even real estate investor, or even in many aspects. So I can see that this is a totally unexpected turn. So much of solutions are not there. But that's why the day one itself, I told you have to bring more investors with you. Then you can withstand many things. If that is not there, somewhat difficult. But it is all the matter of underwriting, because you are not buying a property now and closing in 6 months, 1 year's time or 2 years' time, like a pre-construction condo or what, right? When you go for a commercial property, probably you're closing 3 to 6 months' time maximum. So everybody knows what's happening in the market. That's why I told 2 properties I gave up with $50,000 down payment. My initial deposit, I just given up and still walked away because I didn't want that type of property. So it all depends on the due diligence and the underwriting. Sometimes, of course, we cannot determine everything, right? There is somebody superpower there, so we have to believe in that.
So how do you assist? So how do you assist someone that does come to you and want to have a dream of owning multiple units? How do you assist them to successfully own multiple unit without down payment and without fail in the situation that I say?
Yeah, because if they really come into multifamily purchase, most of the time, it doesn't mean that they have to come to me. There are better coaches also. So somewhere they have to find a coach, and they should be able to really learn the whole process. Otherwise, they have to work with the coach and continue their journey, at least for the first property or the second property. Because if you yourself buy a commercial property for you, then only you will understand how much of things are there other than a realtor or a mortgage broker. As a mortgage broker, I may have done many commercial mortgages, but I cannot understand the real full cycle of a real estate investor until and unless I buy properties. So likewise, you are a realtor, you will know a lot of things, but you don't really go into the full cycle. So, but you are pushing somebody, or as a mortgage broker, I am pushing somebody into a purchase without even myself know the full cycle. That's why the coaches and mentors are coming into this commercial. Especially again, single family is different, multifamily is different, warehouse is different. So like that, so much differences are there. So it is always a longer learning. So when a student comes and join my program, I try to share everything what I learned in my 20 years of experience and $500,000 of expenditure or money spent or time spent or losses or whatever. Still, we don't share, we don't stop saying, yes, I will share only half of my knowledge, because when somebody comes and give any amount as a coaching student, we try to share everything what we know. We don't know everything maybe, but whatever we know, we try to tell them. So it works well, and then they are able to at least cover the time, because if I myself learn everything without a coach, means it takes about 3 to 5 years minimum. Even in this case, I used to be a mortgage broker, I used to be a real estate agent. Even then, it took that long to understand. So without being a mortgage broker or a realtor, a buyer, just a buyer, comes and start buying a property, commercial property. How much of time and wastage they are going to do face if they don't have any coaches.
Another question is, if an investor, first investment bought under his personal name, and then now he sell this first investment and then realize that he want more protection to his own assets. So he now thinking that he want to register a corporation in order to protect his assets. And then after register corporation, within 30 days, he found a good deal that he want to close. How this lender of ABC, I don't think A is possible at all. I don't know, but I just want to pose the question to you. How this lender of ABC private and hard money looking at this new registered corporation and willing to lend?
Yeah,
Are they
I will not answer this question.
Are they
because
just
I
stay the
answered this
same?
list.
Are they just stay the same the way you think that doesn't matter what is your corporation, just register as long as you show me all the cash flow, you show me all the equity, or you show me just that's my question.
Yeah, where did you go yesterday? Friday.
Oh,
We answered this Friday.
oh, is it? Oh, okay. I was driving.
Because in commercial purchases, most of the time you will come up with a brand new corporation. Even if you come with a brand new corporation, still the banks will accept it as long as you have some experience personally, or your partners have some experience, or otherwise the property really qualifies. So a brand new corporation is not a problem. Every time I buy properties, I buy with a new corporation. So that's not an issue.
So when I say to the lender, say I have experience, and how do they verify that I have experience? How do they verify? Just verbal tell them?
Because now almost everything is in the LinkedIn and everywhere. So it is not that we can simply hide it. One. Second, they are going to first verify or qualify the property. They are funding only against the property. One. Second, they try to get a personal guarantee 90%, 99% of the time. Not a single lender is just lending only against the property. Most of the time, they try to give you get a personal guarantee.
Right? You mean personal assets? You mean personal assets involved to guarantee?
Personal, that's why they check this net worth. Net worth is the one going to show how much of net worth you have by selling everything and paying off all the debts, maybe 3 million, 2 million,
cash everything out.
Yeah, so that's a net worth. But personal guarantee is just a personal guarantee. It is not a collateral. You are not going to sign up an agreement or put a lien on everything. No, most of the banks don't ask for that, especially A lenders don't ask. But the personal guarantee they may ask you, or they ask.
Which one? The hard lender?
The hard lenders will ask you even lien on some other properties collateral. A lenders, they will not ask you a collateral, but they will ask you the net worth statement. Second, they may put you a personal guarantee. Personal guarantee is not attached to any properties, but you are personally guaranteeing that if by chance you don't pay, later on through the courts, they can put a lien on your name. We call that execution. That means they will put whatever the litigation or amount that payable by you, will put it on them. So it will not, probably it will not reflect in the credit bureau, but still when the name search or when the lawyers search on your name, they can identify that. We call that execution search. So they will say there is a lien or there is the court case or judgment is there that you have to pay $200,000.
What about B lender?
B lenders also look for that.
Same thing. Okay.
Yes. Personal guarantee is fairly a common thing for A and B lenders because they try to give you a good deal. Because the A lenders and B lenders, not just for money making alone, they try to help the community. So that is a part of the wings of the government, right? They government fund through A lenders, sometime even regulate the B lenders so that the economy and things like that can move on properly. So it is not totally 100% money making.
Mm-mm.
So they had to balance it. Private lenders, yes, they are 100% money making. There's nothing, no ethics or anything unless individually they are.
They want guarantee.
Yes.
So in your experience of investment, which type, I don't think it's A, right? So which of these lender that help you close the deal, and which of these lender that you most recommend?
It depends on the cases because you have to individual what sort of property you are buying is important, and again what sort of income is there, and like that you have to see case by case.
Mm.
Because some lenders don't like some sort of property. For example, if it's a warehouse, most of the banks don't like it. Otherwise, they will ask you minimum 50% because warehouse, the structure is not very strong, only the land value. So they want only at least 50% down. If it is student rental, most of the time banks will not even take it now. So like that, case by case, property by property, asset class wise, lenders vary. Some lenders, they are totally okay with agricultural properties because their expertise is that. They will do it. Some lenders will not even touch it. So like that. So that's why as a mortgage broker can help you in every way so that they can put the deal to the right property to the right lender.
Mm-mm.
It is not categorizing A lenders and B lenders and C lenders. That's only the first step. Then they have to identify which lender, which A lender can do this deal, which B lender can do this deal. They have to go to that extent.
Mm-mm.
So that's why you have to have a good mortgage broker in your area. Then it'll be easy.
So when you invest in a strata property that have like more than 10 units, right? Is there any particular like, does we need to consider the strata management depreciation report, or they think that the lender may not release fund? Anything?
Can you ask the question again?
So multiple unit family usually is a strata property, right?
Yeah.
In my experience of helping my client buying residential strata property, 1 unit, okay, I noticed that some lender not willing to lend a certain building.
Yeah.
So if the investor buy the whole building, the lender still qualify as like that too. If there's still
No.
particular building, they're not willing to lend money.
No, because you are mixing two things, one is apartment purchase, other one is condominium purchase. If you can buy a unit, that means it's a condominium. That's what you are doing as a business mostly. So if a property is not accepted by a bank based on the reserve funds or anything about the property, most of the time, in the same lane, there may be another property that may qualify, this may not qualify. So most of the time it is because of the property condition or otherwise any other stigma on that property. Most of the time it is all about the management and the reserve funds. So individually, now you try to take everything by one person going to buy means he is going to go as a commercial purchase, apartment building. So at that time, that condominium story, everything is gone. There is no condominium, no reserve funds, nothing. Because it's owned by yourself. And of course, there is so much of legal things has to go through that. You have to make it apartment, everything as an apartment instead of condominium. Most of the time, only the reverse things happens in the right locations. An apartment can be converted to condominium so that they can sell it for a higher price. If you buy a condominium and convert it to apartment, probably it may not be a good idea unless the individual situation proves opposite. So when you demolish that, there is no reserve for nothing. You buy everything individually. Now package it and make sure that property, other than that structural building of the property is good, then the bank may take it to. But in between, there's the you have to go through some legal process, right? I bought a property, not bought. I gave an offer in Saskatoon, 42 unit building. It's a very solid building. It used to be, as you asked, individually commercial, individual condominium, 42. But the area, the lane was not very attractive lane because so much of problems and things like that happened. But individually, few people own few properties. Other than that, every individual owners own one property each. But the management couldn't properly manage that property because the individual owners did not pay the rent or the property management fees to the management, because the tenant did not pay properly. The owners were far away, so they couldn't manage and evict the tenants on time. So they were behind. Gradually, they were so much behind on the payments, and also management team could not do everything in the proper manner. But it's a solid building, concrete building. When I visited the property, it's beautiful. Some properties are look like even Airbnb rentals. Some properties are like pigeonholes, broken and everything. So like that so much. And some area, of course, people have cut off the copper pipes and everything and sold it. But it is still, overall, it's a great building. Elevator was not working. We had to do something. Still, it's a great deal. I want to buy, but my partner offered little less and we missed that opportunity. But the situation is that, so the management could not continue maintaining the property and enforce everything properly. So at last, they tried to let every individual sellers to sell that property, owners, but they couldn't do it because when the property has problems, as you ask, if the management has issues, reserve funds are lacking or negative, things like that, who is going to buy? Individual owners are selling, nothing is happening. Management could not do anything because they don't own the property. So at last, they went and get a court order saying individual owners cannot sell individually. Management is taking over and selling. Then the court's order is given to the management, so they have the power to sell with the support of their lawyer. Then only we try to bid that property and try to buy that. But at last, we lost that by $25,000. So now management is selling, the new buyer is buying. So at that time, he has some opportunity to make it either a good condominium, again, do the renovation, put a new management and put some money into this, and they can do something. But our purpose was not to continue as condominium, to make it as an apartment. So this happens very seldom, but it is possible if the numbers really make sense. You got it? Got the difference?
So condominium is individually owned. Apartment is just owned
one owner, many
as a group.
many units. Yes, not group. One owner owns all the units.
The whole unit.
Yeah. Most of the time, people take an apartment, do renovation, and make it as condominium so that they can sell it for higher prices. That's a good business. It doesn't happen in the other way most of the time.
And when you buy it, if you successfully buy it, these are individually owned. So how do you individually buy from them?
Buy from whom?
Originally, if it's a condominium, right? That means many owners.
Yeah, but the court has the order, so it is a collective purchase because the court's order is there, so we can buy that and we can register on our name. Some legal works may be involved, but still it's possible.
Like a court order sale.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
In your early stage of investment, in your early stage of start investment,
yeah,
and since you have experience now,
yeah,
for a new investor, what is the number of unit you suggest to start with?
It depends on the individual capacity of the investor. Capacity means maybe the knowledge, net worth and network and expectation and his down payment capacity. not every investor is starting from 2 unit or 10 unit or 5 units. So they can start in any number as long as they have the knowledge and people are there for them to support. So it is their individual. For example, you find one of the clients, he is already a millionaire. He has about at least $2 to $5 million in his bank account, and he has an office and everything. So what sort of property will you propose him? Will you propose a 3 triplex or about 15 or 20 unit building?
20 unit.
Yeah, because you can hire any people as long as you have your finance situation and knowledge is there. You can hire any right people to manage a property. So it is an individual question for that capacity of that particular buyer, not their experience even.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, when the property becomes bigger and bigger, definitely somebody else is going to buy, manage, not themselves.
On average, in the early stage of your investment, on average, how many years you own and then sell it?
That is also another case-by-case situation, because some property, when I buy it, still I decide, yes, I'm going to flip it, do the renovation and flip it. Some property we decide, yes, I'm going to buy keep it for 5 years. Some property we tell 10 years, because if I buy that property by myself without anybody else, it's okay. But if I buy with other people, we should be able to tell the exit strategy and time frame fairly precise. Then only the investors can take time and take knowledge and decide if they want to buy or not. So that is very important. So if you buy with other people, we will put that exit strategy when we are going to sell. And that is based on the underwriting also. It is not just the decision alone. Based on the underwriting, we will identify when a property can make more profit by selling. Then we decide, yes, in 5 years or 2 years or 10 years.
Mm-mm.
So that's also again an underwriting question. If we decide that, then we will determine, yes, it's going to be with us for 10 years. If anybody else is not interested, let them go. They don't need to invest in. For example, you buy a property now, in 5 years' time, you know that there is going to be a GO train. 6 years' time, there's going to be another hospital. So are you willing to sell in 3rd year or 5th year or 7th year or 10th year?
No.
Because if you keep it for about 7 to 8 years or 10 years, definitely you can increase the rent and you can double the rent return. So you will not simply sell that earlier.
Mm-mm.
But you have to put that clauses well in advance to the sellers or the investors. Then only they can decide, because they are going to put the $100,000 of their own money, thinking that this money will come in 3 years' time, because in 4th year they have to use that money for their children's education or what. So if you simply say, no, we decided 3 years first, now I want to take it for 8 years because there is some opportunity coming, then they cannot plan it. So at least you should be able to let them get out of the deal. You have to exit them at least, because originally that's a promise you did. So exit strategy is something you have to decide based on the property and the investors and the situation. But it's always better you tell that in advance.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a great discussion, and anybody interested to take our, as I told that we are planning to give one online course and 3-day boot camp. 3-day boot camp will be in person and Zoom, so we will let you know the time, and if by chance the date is not suitable, we'll definitely put you in other group as well. If you are interested, that is, I think I put the pricing only for $997. It's an online course. Anytime you will have access and lifetime access. It's about 15 hours of training. We cover fairly everything about multifamily purchases. Second thing, of course, the 3-day boot camp. There we will practically approach each and every aspect of this one, so that you will have full understanding. as a realtor or mortgage broker or even individual investors, if you have that knowledge, you should be able to definitely take a good decision, not only for you, even for your investors, because whoever you are, you may have to raise some capital. At that time, you are going to bring people with you. So you should have enough knowledge. Then only you can really bring people on board with you. So if you are interested, let me know. Then today's price is at $997. It's an online course, lifetime access, and the 3-day boot camp. 3-day boot camp means about 9:30 to 4:30. 3 days, 3 full days. You can participate from any part, otherwise in person. Okay, guys. So that's all for the day. If you are interested, let me know, text us or call us. We can do something. And any other questions, or shall we conclude the training? Okay, so good night, guys. So we will see you in any other training very soon. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
I miss